Dr. Yinusa Tanko, the national chairman of NCP, joins us from Abuja. Good morning and thank you for joining us, Dr. Tanko. Let's get back to this electoral reform, which is what the panel will be inaugurated today, headed by Senator Ken Nnamani. Well, yes, indeed, there are different perspectives and different views to that particular action. What is yours?
Well, quite honestly, I think it's another jamboree. The truth is that when we had the waste report, every Nigerian attests to it that the waste panel report was a fantastic document. They had 146,000 memorandum, and they also had 907 representation with hearing conducted in 12 states. Even though our position as at that time was that the political parties have always been thrown to the dustbin when it comes to decision making that concerns them. Unfortunately, you always have people probably from one political party who is in power, then will now decide the fate of others. That is unfair. That's very unfair. If we are truthful to ourselves, what we need to do is to have the National Assembly to discuss the document that was already being proposed, even though it was done by another political party too as at that time, but that document was widely accepted. We can now have all the political parties to submit their own position on that document so that we will own this particular law. If we can do that, it will now be a document that we can all sign to. But this particular idea of creating committees after committees that will decide the fate of 40 political parties is quite unacceptable. So for me, it is very important that every political party is involved in this process, so that we can own a document of our own and at the same time sign and agree to it. That will be more binding.
All right, let me bring this in because Dr. Ashiru was of the view that he doesn't subscribe to politicians heading or being members of that panel because whatever recommendations they come up with may be partisan. But you, if I understand you properly, are saying you need members of all political parties to be part of that so that they can be binding.
No, I didn't say they should be part of the committee, but they should have their own position taken. Like, let me give you an example. What we did in the Interparty Advisory Council was this. We were able to meet together, and at that time we were even more than 40. Every political party submitted a memorandum on how we think we can work together in the area of violence-free elections and all of those. Even though we did not have a very strong enforcement law, we all agree on a document, and that is why we all signed to it. Here, what I'm saying that every political party should be involved in the process so that our views will be captured in whatever document is submitted to the National Assembly that will form a law. What we are having now, is it not the same politician? Ken Nnamani would very revered and respected leader. He's a politician, and he was a member of a political party. So, but then, he's not the head of a political party. But now, every political party should be involved in the process. That way, it will give them ownership. So nobody will not run away from whatever decision has been taken, even if it's passed into law. But here, when a discussion has been made, and you made a document, of course, everybody can kick against it and say, I was not part of it. And I believe that's some of the problem that we are having even in the constitutional reform, where people are saying that that particular constitution is not our own constitution. It's the constitution made by the military for us. But so we should take a cue from it
and don't
be interested in be interested in ourselves.
But if you look at the way the procedure before the Justice Waste panel report was eventually put together, politicians, did they happen the way you are suggesting right now?
No. We were not involved, but if you notice, in that panel, as I said, even though did not carry everybody along, but the people that was on that panel, Justice Mohammed Uwais, Professor Atayri Jega, Dr. Ibrahim Jibo, all of these people are in the some of them are in civil society, some are academicians, and then with judiciary.
Pardon me
I don't think there was
again.
any political party or political leaders involved in that particular process.
Let me pick up on the point which you just raised.
We have it on authority that the majority of the leaders of the present government are not interested in multi-political party system. The key issue is that we are very, very skeptical of such a committee that may end up make recommendation for the registration of political party for under any disguise. And that is the reason why we are advocating, particularly me, that all the political parties must be involved in the process to protect their interests. Let's be very, very clear. This is a political dispensation, and it has to do with political parties. Without our own existence in the political space, we wouldn't have democracy. So don't let us toy with it for the interest of some other persons, maybe because they want to have this particular, to gag other people from being into politics. That would be unfair to all. So all we am asking, and I think probably it will be shared by all the other political parties, we should be involved in the process. We have been taken for a ride for too long.
All right,
political
Dr.
parties
Tanko,
have been kept at abeyance.
Dr. Tanko, let me ask this. I mean, while you spoke, you made reference to civil society groups who were part of the Ways panel, and then they also facilitated that before it came up to be. But today, there are many who will ask you, where are the civil society groups these days? All of them seem to have just shut up or controlled by political parties, virtually non-existent. And so, what do we do about that?
There are still some of them that are credible. That is the hypocrisy in the system. Because quite honestly, a lot of our members, although some of us who have already turned politicians, some of our members are feeling very, very, finding it very difficult to kind of pack their own vomit, because majority of them supported this particular government to be in power, and then what they are seeing is not what they expected. And then it's become so difficult for them to come out and criticize. But there's nothing wrong with you to own up to your mistake if you have made one. We all are human. At this particular point in time, a lot of people didn't expect that we will face this particular situation of diversionary measures instead of us really facing the situation on ground. And then maybe that is why some of them are not coming out to talk. But I think some of them are talking. But that is not to say we should remove them from it, because they are the key people with other members who really fought for this democracy. If you remember, they were all on the street fighting for democracy, and eventually when we got it, they were able to put in their own input. So if there are corrections to be made, we should correct it, and then we should move on. What you find in a leader...
So for someone like you, who is a party chairman, sorry to cut you there, for someone like you who is a party chairman and you want to see the style of the Constitutional Conference, what are those things that you have seen as a party chieftain that you would love to see implemented and very quickly through?
Well, when in regard to the issue of this electoral reform, if we can go through the National Assembly, what we are basically interested is political party finance campaign, because a lot of money is in the system that other political parties who are in power use against the other political parties. That is why you find out that most other political parties cannot perform equitably well. Then two, the issue of cross-carpeting must be checked, because a lot of political parties who are in power now are beneficiary of that particular system, and that has reduced the other political party from actually getting the right person to contest under them. And then at the same time too, we'll be interested seriously as the guide to issue of breaking down INEC into three groups, which of course was highly represented and supported by the Ways panel report. We will have the Constituency Delineation Commission, which I think should be handed over to National Population Commission and then Power Bureau of Statistics, and then the Political Party Regulation and Regulation Commission, which will deal with election proper and all. Then the offenses, the Electoral Election Offenses Commission. These are issues, but most importantly, we must also find a way that all the political parties will perform equitably well by making sure that there are seeded funds that are given to political parties so that they can be able to perform. As it is now, you hear even the ruling party is saying that they are strafing of funds. So there is no seeded money, And then the issue of proportional representation is very, very key. Because, you see, when we go into election, you find out that probably the political party that will win about with some couple of millions or 3 or 4 million, and then the next to it will be about 5 or 4 million, then it goes down the road like that. You will find out that we have a winner-take-all syndrome. You will now ignore the other person that have gotten less millions into governance. And that creates a kind of critical mass that will always be against the ruling party. So what we needed to do is at least everybody who have made a threshold of at least maybe 5% or above that should be in government across the board. I think those are reforms that can be far-reaching, that can make sure that everybody is in the same boat whenever it comes to election.
Sounds interesting.
Like maybe everybody is going out to the government house, cap in hand, looking for support or how to survive as a party.
That clearly means you won't support the two-party system. Well, thank you for coming on this morning, Dr. Yinusa Tanko, Chairman of NCP. And
oh, definitely.
That's also where we short the curtains today on the program. We thank you all for watching and for sending in your comments. We'll see you next time. I'm Chamberlain Uso.
Many thanks. I'm Sulaiman Alede.